Hey guys, Jessica here and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm up on the Art Impressions blog with design team member Nicole, and we've made a couple cards featuring some Hero Arts and Art Impressions products. And Hero Arts did send a couple dies to me to use for this project. It is their 45th birthday, so I wanted to create just a fun, colorful card for them to celebrate. There's a huge blog hop going on with lots of giveaways and prizes. Check that out at the link below. So I'm going to stamp the Art Impressions Spectacular set using Gina K Amalgam ink onto a piece of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. This is A2 sized, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to stamp it several times just to get a really nice black impression. And I'm using my stamp platform to do that. I've been kind of intrigued by Kraft colored cardstock lately, and I've been doing some Copic coloring and pencil coloring on it. I've gone ahead and tested out some colors of Copics onto a piece of Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. That way I know the same tones it'll be for both. This is just a small scrap piece that I had. I'm going to start with the ladies' skin tones. So I'm using several different colors here, ranging in shades. The E35 will be the deepest color I use, and then the E31 on the lady on the right. The Y21 is a little bit too yellow, so I do kind of neutralize that a bit with the E00 a little bit later. Most of my shading is going to be done with some cool gray markers. I have the C5 here, which I'm actually using to color in their shoes, and then blend out that darker C5 marker with a C3. And I use a C1 and a C3 to do some shading with their skin tones and their clothing also. And that will just help me limit my marker usage. I didn't use very many markers for this, so that was kind of fun to have that bit of a restriction on myself. For the hair, I use a E74, which is a nice gray tone brown. And then I'm also going to use Y23 to kind of make a blonde color. It's a little darker of a blonde, and that is because I Kraft cardstock. The ladies on the right will get a bit more of a reddish brown color. So I have an E15. And then the lady with the round glasses is going to have a bit of E07 and an E15 mix. So this is where I decided to kind of neutralize that skin tone just a bit. So I pulled out some basic primary colors for their clothes. I kind of already went and did a background using some alcohol pearl inks that'll show a little bit later. So I'm going to play off of that color combination, which is a rainbow color combination. So I have an R05 and then a YR04, G14 for that green. And again, I'm just using these markers and some grays to do some shading. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down a bit of color and figure out where I want these colors to go for their outfits. And in the shadow areas, I'm just going to double up on that coloring. So it's going to have a bit more of a darker coloration. And that creates a very subtle shadow, which I kind of like for this card. Because that lady in the middle, the one that's more standing forward with the ground glasses, has that green scarf. I went ahead and just made her pants purple. And then all of their earrings and a lot of their accessories have yellow in it. So that's how I tied in that yellow color for the rainbow. One of the fun things to use with Kraft cardstock is a white Prismacolor pencil. This is such a bright white and it looks beautiful. It just really makes everything around it even brighter and more colorful. So I'm going to quickly just do a flat color of that Prismacolor pencil all around, making sure I keep sharpening that pencil so I have a nice sharp tip, because there are some small areas I need to get into. There are still some pieces of clothing that I'm not going to color white. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with those yet, so I figured out I would just color them in a dark gray. I kind of already liked the amount of white that I had, and I didn't want to add much more because I was also going to make their sunglasses white too, and that'll help make those stand out a bit more. So I just use a white Prismacolor pencil on the sunglass frames. So I'm going to take 4 of those primary colors that I use for their clothing and color in their sunglass lenses. There really wasn't much of a plan for which one got what color of sunglasses. I was just trying to make sure that the colors were spread out. So if you look at where the white coloring is from the Prismacolor pencil, because that's a wax pencil and it sits on top of the paper, it does kind of cover up the black lines from the stamp image when I had stamped the image using that Gina K amalgam ink. So this is definitely just an extra step. You don't have to do this. It does look pretty good without it, but especially since I use that white Prismacolor pencil and some of that white pigment from that pencil did get over the stamp lines from the Gina K amalgam ink that I used to stamp the Art and Brushes Spectacular set. I decided to clean it up just a little bit with a micron pen and a 03. I'm just going to use that micron pen to trace over all of those stamped lines. And it really just makes it a lot more bolder. I think it helps make the color stand out a little bit more and cleans it up just a bit. So that's kind of an optional set, but you can see here just how much of a difference it makes. And I use my T ruler to make a straight line with that micron pen. So I'm going to use a E74 marker, which is that gray-brown marker. It's the same marker that I used on the lady with that orange shirt. She has that nice brown hair. So I'm going to concentrate the color so that it's darker on the background and then it fades up to lighter. And I'm just going to do a quick wash of color over that entire ground area. I also took a couple gray markers and colored in a shadow, which was very unnecessary, but it worked at the end because it helped make that birthday die stand out even more. So this is definitely not a necessary step. And there's a couple steps in this whole card making process that I tried something and it did not work, so I had to fix it. So this is kind of a do as I say, not as I do. So I pulled out my glass media mat and I'm going to make a quick rainbow background using some alcohol pearls. And these are brand new to me. I really just wanted to use them. And this is the whole reason why I used the rainbow colors on those ladies' clothes, was because of this whole idea. I definitely love the look of these alcohol pearl inks. There's quite a shimmer to them. It's really cool to watch that shimmer move around inside that alcohol ink as it's drying. It's like a fizzy kind of a shimmer. Really pretty. And I chose these 3 alcohol inks specifically for the rainbow effect you would get. So it's the red, yellow, and blue. So you get orange and green, and you can make purple or violet too. And I'm just using a piece of Legion Yupo paper for that. So here's a look at what I'm going to use for die cutting. So the 2 dies that I have from Hero Arts are the Circle Confetti Fancy die. So I just cut that Yupo paper. This is such a fun die, but it was really hard to get all of those little circles out of it. I know there's an easier way. There's a tool specifically made for this. And I'm also going to use it on a Nina 110-pound piece of white cardstock. So I'm also going to use the same cardstock with that Hero Arts Birthday Message Fancy die. This die is huge and I love it. I love how big it is and I love that font. So this is a do as I say, not as I do moment. I thought if I left the birthday die cut inside of that black foam piece that it would be easier to layer the white cardstock layer over the top. And it really wasn't. I got glue everywhere. So I should have went the opposite way of what I did. What I should have done was, after die cutting the girlfriend's panel and taking out that die cut and leaving the negative pieces, I should have just went ahead and adhered that to a card base and then adhered the foam to that negative area and added the white layer on top from there. And then everything would have been very uniform. So now I'm going to take all of those confetti bits, all those little rainbow pieces that I used the alcohol pearl ink on, and I'm going to glue them around these girlfriends. I tried this a couple different ways, and this turned out to be the easiest, where I just placed a couple glue drops onto my panel where I wanted the confetti to go, and then used my tweezers to pick up those itty bitty tiny little circles. I also used the Tim Holtz tool again to help adhere those circles down. I used the Happy out of one of the Art Impression sentiments out from the Spectacular set and heat embossed it onto black cardstock. And I just trimmed out the Happy word with my scissors and placed that over the birthday. So the front of it says Happy Birthday. And for the inside, I kept it simple but used some of the same colors and materials. You'll see a glimpse of that here in just a moment. Final step was to add some glossy accents to their sunglasses. I just want to say a big thank you to Hero Arts and Art Impressions for including me in this blog hop. It was really a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed making this card to celebrate the 45th birthday of Hero Arts. Alright you guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Meh, meh.